This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
It's the Noon Report from Family Life, bringing a Christian worldview to what's happening in New York, Pennsylvania, across the country, and around the world. Weather with Kevin Williams, and faith-focused feature stories with the Family Life News team. Now, here's what's happening.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. Air raid sirens were going off over Jordan today after they intercepted 4 missiles coming from Iran. Nearby, the U.S. military completed its 11th night of airstrikes on Iran. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, meeting with Southeast Asian allies, said the war must be won.
If we create a precedent in the Middle East where a nation state can decide that they are going to control an international waterway, charge a toll, and if you don't pay them, blow up your ships, we have created a very dangerous precedent which will repeat itself in other parts of the world, including in this region.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth was hammered by his own party Tuesday over the cost of the war in a hearing before Congress. Hegseth asking for another $70 billion. Senator John Kennedy.
We need some hard answers and some straight talk.
Hegseth flipped the script after a fiery clash, though, with Democratic Senator Gary Peters.
You, sir, are the failure. You don't have a long-term plan to actually win this war. Win the war. The men and women are going to be able to do it, but they need to have leadership. When will you show leadership?
Why don't you show some leadership and stand up to your fellow Democrats who won't fund the troops, who stand and play partisan politics?
President Trump was asked by the press Tuesday for an end date to the war.
Mr. President, there are no signs that Iran is ready to stop fighting. So what is the plan? Is the plan to just keep bombing until they give up?
Why, do you know something that I don't know? Until they're ready to meet in a meaningful way, we have no interest.
18 service members have now died in this conflict, including 4 killed since Friday. Today, the president attends the dignified transfer of their remains at Dover Air Force Base. More than 6 months after his capture, ousted Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores will appear in a Manhattan courtroom today. They're pushing to have the drug trafficking charges they're facing thrown out. It was a rough night in the eastern U.S. ABC's Hannah Batak.
Powerful storms stretching from Tennessee to upstate New York. West Virginia's governor declaring a state of emergency after some areas saw more than half a foot of rain in just a few hours. Emergency crews responding to reports of people trapped in their homes. The storm's also spawning at least 2 tornadoes in New Jersey.
Millions along the Gulf Coast are bracing for the second named storm of the season to make landfall over southern Louisiana. Reporter Rhiannon Nally.
Tropical storm Bertha is gaining strength and making a run west along the Gulf Coast. Outer bands bringing high waves and winds to Panama City Beach, Florida.
The forecast is for Bertha to head to New Orleans, then to Houston. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy gave an update on the Cyclospora parasite outbreak linked to iceberg lettuce from Mexico.
We do have the outbreak under control. We have done extensive forensics, epidemiological forensics, and we've identified the source of the outbreak.
That outbreak is linked to 1,600 cases in 5 states, primarily found on shredded lettuce at Taco Bell. Official data from the Congo shows at least 999 people have died from the Ebola outbreak, which has been the fastest growing in history. As of Monday, nearly 2,500 cases were reported there. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani is out with a new video saying U.S. authorities should arrest Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for war crimes.
Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here.
Mamdani acknowledging he doesn't have the authority to make the arrest, but the feds, he says, should. Senator Tom Cotton responded.
Is Zohran Mamdani threatening to arrest butchers from Iran who have killed tens of thousands of their own people, or genuine war criminals from other countries? No. The one person he cites is the leader of the Jewish state of Israel.
More Jews live in New York City than any other city in the world, save the nation of Israel. A software error in the state's driver's license application process led to hundreds of non-citizens voting in New Jersey. ABC's Mary Bruce.
New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill says officials became aware of the issue last week and that all 6,600 people are being scrubbed from the voter rolls.
We don't deflect, deny, or exploit problems for our own gain. We find them and we fix them.
The White House says the episode, quote, underscores the absolute necessity of the Save America Act.
America officially loves soccer. The numbers are in, and Sunday's World Cup final was a record-breaking success. Spain's victory over Argentina drew nearly 63 million viewers in the U.S. alone. The match, the most watched World Cup final in American history, and the highest-rated soccer game of any kind in the United States. And just what does it take to move 4 3,300-pound beluga whales? To answer the question, a cargo jet, a huge lift, a truck filled with water, and a lot of staff. That's what happened in Chicago Tuesday after a Canadian theme park shut down and left the whales stranded. They were moved to Shedd Aquarium by jet, by truck, and by crane.
Marineland Canada's had a very long history of poor welfare. They did close down after a bill in 2019 ended keeping these animals for breeding and entertainment purposes.
The whales were surrounded by vets and staffers to keep them calm as they traveled.
It involves people at each step that can accompany the animal and assess it to ensure that it is going to be transported stress-free and problem-free.
All 4 now safe and sound, doing well and well-fed in Chicago. Still to come on the Noon Report, irradiated homes in Niagara County, the price of Penn State, and preserving history in a 100-year-old post office. Those stories after weather.
Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Williams. A noticeable difference in our air mass this afternoon. Cooler, less humid. We'll have mixed skies, sun, clouds, and a shower. Looks beautiful tomorrow and Friday. Forecast details are up in 10.
All right, Kevin, checking the stories making news where you live in New York and Pennsylvania. Assessing the damage. We start with the weather and an update on powerful storms that rolled through last night. Erie County taking a hit. John Bell is a Westlake Road resident. Large trees were falling down around his home last night.
We were in the basement hiding at that time, because I was a little bit afraid.
One tree, a near miss for his house.
Oh, we're very lucky. I think the power poles what slowed it down, because it could have reached the house.
Erie News Now meteorologist Tom DeVecchio says the hail was massive in western Pennsylvania.
Adam, our news director, literally went out in the storm, got the hail, brought it in, and it was about the size of a quarter. That is really sizable hail.
At one point, 20,000 people were in the dark in New York and Pennsylvania. That number down to 3,600 this afternoon across both states. Now to Niagara Falls in a heated hearing about high radiation levels in Erie and Niagara counties in residential areas. State and federal officials were on hand last night and the EPA after a new report showed many homes have unsafe levels of radiation from industrial waste. EPA Region 2 Administrator Mike Martucci.
We stand ready to get into those places, into the yards, into the homes, collect that screening data, and make real-time decisions based on not lab data, but screening data about whether or not people can stay in their homes.
Officials offering to help with relocations. The federal terrorism trial of Hadi Matar has begun in Buffalo. He's accused of attempting to kill famed author Salman Rushdie at the Chautauqua Institution in 2022. WGRZ says it was a bit of a zoo in the courtroom Tuesday.
99 potential jurors summoned to federal court in Buffalo for this federal terrorism trial. And as they begin to whittle down this jury pool from across western New York, we've heard individuals speak from Akron, Attica, Niagara Falls, Williamsville, Orchard Park, all providing providing potential reasons why they should not be selected or might not be able to serve for that amount of time.
He's pled not guilty to 3 counts. There was a massive fire at a well-known farmers market in Penfield, New York overnight. The main building at Bauman's Farm Market and greenhouses completely destroyed.
13 WHAM learned of this fire at about 2:30 this morning over the scanners, and this turned out to be a 2-alarm fire. And according to the Baumans, nobody was hurt in this fire. And this is a long-running family-owned farmers market. They've been around since 1908, so over 100 years.
No word on the cause. Experts are warning New Yorkers they're going to have to continue to deal with smoke from the Canadian wildfires. Smoke that turns the skies orange.
We did notice scratchy throat a little bit, runny nose.
I saw soot all over the truck, and I said to my wife, I said, well, that's why our throats are probably a little scratchy, because we've been breathing all of that in.
Richard Ross Shaker, an assistant professor in the Department of Sustainable Resource Management at SUNY, says warm temperatures are fueling the fires.
This potentially could be a new normal or a continuing normal for us.
Canada has invested $12 billion into mitigation efforts like training more firefighters and buying helicopters. New York farmers are reacting to President Trump's announcement that some products coming from Canada will now be slapped with a 50% tariff. Trump saying Canada was not playing nice on trade.
They need us to survive. Without us, there's no way they can survive.
But Mike Emmeldorf, CEO of the Associated General Contractors of New York, told Spectrum News he's particularly concerned about the cost of cement for swimming pools and home additions.
Despite what some people might like to believe, they get passed on to the end user, whether it's a consumer or whether it's the owner of a construction project.
He says it's a hard season for home builders.
When suddenly a 50% increase on Canadian sourced products is announced, there's no way for anyone to anticipate that. The volatility and uncertainty of the last 5 years may well be unprecedented. We still have not recovered from the massive material costs that we saw post-COVID.
One of the 4 fallen service members killed in an Iranian air attack on a base in Jordan last week was from New York State. The U.S. Army released a photo of Sergeant Angel Rompersad of Ozone Park. She was just 28 years old. Now to Pennsylvania, where Governor Josh Shapiro has signed a property owner contact registry bill into law. House Bill 858 requires landlords to submit their contact information to a registry, which can be assessed by municipal code enforcement. This after many owners were unreachable when cities were dealing with code enforcement issues. Bob Mursky co-sponsored the bill.
I was on city council and we were dealing with code enforcement issues. So often code enforcement would tell us that they can't find the property owner of a certain property that was blighted.
The hope is to improve the look of cities with rundown homes. Josh Shapiro made a pit stop at B Labs in Philadelphia on Tuesday. The company does cutting-edge work on clinical trials for diseases and medical research.
Pennsylvania is not just competing again. Pennsylvania is winning, and we are beginning to dominate this space in life sciences research and, of course, in investment.
The governor announcing $125 million set aside in the state budget for medical research startups like B Labs. Penn State tuition will be higher in 2027 as the university grapples with lost revenue due to declining enrollment. The Board of Trustees approved a 2.5% tuition increase for in-state students, or about $260 a semester, and a 4% increase for out-of-staters. Pennsylvania State Senator Doug Mastriano has been tapped to become the U.S. ambassador to Slovakia, but now that bid is in question after Republican Senator John Cornyn on Tuesday threatened to withhold his vote unless he sees movement on stalled global AIDS relief funding. Cornyn warning he'd block Mastriano's nomination. A 100-year-old post office got a colorful new addition this week thanks to a local artist who's painting a large mural inside the historic Niagara Falls post office on Main Street. It's getting rave reviews.
I love all the colors. I love how colorful and vibrant it is.
And it's going to be there for the years to come.
everyone's going to be able to see it and walk in here and know that someone local did it, and I think that's really cool. That's awesome for Niagara Falls.
Artist Kaylee Day spoke with WGRZ.
It feels like carrying on the legacy of something from the past. I'm not sure that that's really something that's done so much anymore. It was very common in the 1930s.
Day used an inside wall to capture famous moments in Niagara Falls history.
We have the vintage-inspired stamps from the Pan American Exposition, a tightrope walker, which could be Nick Wallenda, the Gorge, the Falls, and the Maid of the Mist.
The project was inspired by the long history of post office murals commissioned across the country in the 1930s. And a retired police officer is running 400 miles in 8 days for charity. Brett Sobrieski is visiting a different high school track each day and running 55 miles on each to honor his former Rochester Police Department colleagues, Anthony Mazurkowitz and Daryl Pearson.
The outpouring of support, the entire TAC unit that worked with Tony and with Daryl are here supporting them, remembering them. It's just a day of remembrance and reverence.
Sobrieski says he'll spend the rest of his life remembering the sacrifices officers make in the line of duty.
And it's all about remembrance. The biggest fear of their families is that their sacrifices will be forgotten. And this just shows you that it won't.
His next run is today at Kendall High School, making a difference one step at a time. On deck next, our own Randy Snavely with the 2-minute drill.
Good afternoon, I'm Randy Snavely. The numbers are in and FIFA is thrilled. Total viewership for the World Cup soccer finals went past 60 million. That easily makes it the most watched soccer game in the United States. Television ratings remained high even after the Americans were eliminated in this tournament. And despite high ticket prices, most games featured packed stadiums. Total attendance at all the stadiums, right around 7 million people. Yeah, I think soccer's going to be back pretty quickly in the U.S. All right, let's go to baseball. In Philadelphia, the Phillies ran themselves out of a potential winning rally in the 9th inning after putting men on second and third with one out. But a 5-2-6-4 double play ended the game. That's third to catcher to short to second. Justin Crawford broke for home on a squilver to third. He was tagged out in a rundown as he was running back to third base. JT Realmuto, who had started on second, raced to third, and then for some reason decided to run back to second, and he was easily tagged out, and that ended the game. 2-1 was the final. In Milwaukee, Zach Thornton of the Mets earned his first career victory by combining with 3 relievers to 4-hit the Milwaukee Brewers. The Mets got home runs from Jared Young and Luis Robert Jr. 4-0 for the Amazons. Elsewhere, your winners were the Guardians, Rays, Padres, Royals, Rangers, Cubs, Astros, Rockies, Angels, D-backs, and Reds. Padres, Yankees, and O's Red Sox both rained out. And finally this, the NBA Hall of Fame will for the first time ever reveal a new exhibit dedicated to Golden State Steph Curry. Never before has an active player had that honor within the Hall's walls. That is a look at sports.
Thank you, Randy. Still to come on the Noon Report, the president heads to Delaware today, bracing for Bertha, and the House will not ban transgender Americans from serving in the military. More on those stories next.
Welcome to Breakpoint, a daily look at an ever-changing culture through the lens of unchanging truth. Today on Breakpoint, speaker and author Abdu Murray warns against using technology to escape reality.
Right now, Rita Realist is telling a young lady named Annabelle that the poem Annabelle posted online is groundbreaking. So is Connie Patriot and several 100,000 others. Though they're all cheering the same poem, none of them really mean it. In fact, they are incapable of meaning it. This is Social AI, an app that looks like X but isn't. You post and millions of followers reply instantly. You literally build your follower base by picking from a menu that can include supporters, critics, trolls, conservatives, or liberals, and your feed fills with bots calibrated to your specifications. Social AI's founder promotes it as liberating because users can't be canceled by their followers. And that's because no actual person is reacting. This is far different than fake bot accounts on X that either puff up follower counts or troll someone without their knowledge. With social AI, in a sea of millions of engaged followers, there's only one human, you, and you know it. Saying something, especially something true but unpopular, in public takes courage to risk being misread, written off, or socially ruined. Social AI removes those risks and, thus, the courage. In fairness, there could be a legitimate use for social AI. Floating a controversial stance past invented critics before posting to truly social media might sharpen one's point or heighten impact. But social AI is not marketed as a risk rehearsal tool, but a risk-removed world. This is part of a growing escapist trend. Venture capitalist Marc Andreessen claims that some of us have reality privilege. We live in a world rich, even overflowing with glorious substance and many fascinating people to talk to. Most others aren't so privileged, living in bleak or challenging circumstances. Reality has had 5,000 years to get good, Andreessen continues, and is clearly still woefully lacking for most people. I don't think we should wait another 5,000 years to see if it eventually closes the gap. The solution, according to Andreessen, David Chalmers, and Bo Cronin, is to build virtual worlds for the reality deprived. Of course, no one is reality deprived. We all live in realities with varying ups and downs. Giving people a virtual world to escape to is the true reality deprivation. That irony is lost on many techno-utopianists, perhaps because becoming godlike world builders is too seductive. Real community entails risks. Christian community isn't meant to be optimized for emotional ease or predictability. Jesus' interactions with his disciples and others were marked by affirmation and correction, even rebuke. That's what prepared his disciples to speak truth to power and endure hardship when preaching the gospel. Real community, marked by reliable answers and compassionate, though unpredictable connection, fosters resilience. The relationships and the faith worth having surprise us, correct us, and uplift us amidst life's triumphs and tragedies. No feat of bots or virtual world can do that. God has privileged us with living in the harsh reality that we can really impact, not avoid. But that requires courage. Anything that removes that courage isn't community. It's a mirror with a chat function.
That was Abdu Murray, author of the book Fake ID, How AI and Identity Ideology Are Collapsing Reality, and a speaker at the upcoming Great Lakes Symposium. What does it mean to be human in an AI age? On August 6th in Bay Harbor, Michigan. The event is free online or in person, but you must register. Find out more at greatlakesymposium.org.
Good afternoon. Here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Cold front that spawned showers and hefty thunderstorms yesterday and last evening has now crossed the area. In its wake, high pressure is building in from the north, and the result is going to be some very refreshing air the next few days. Mixed skies today, but as the high builds closer into the region, abundant sunshine the call for tomorrow and Friday. For this afternoon, we'll have clouds, intervals of sunshine, and a passing shower. It'll be breezy, cooler, and less humid than yesterday, the high in the 70s. But tonight, chance of a shower early, then becoming clear and pleasantly cool. Low temps, generally mid-40s to mid-50s. Tomorrow and Friday, abundant sunshine and very nice. High temps tomorrow 70s, up to around 80 or so on Friday.
Thank you, Kevin. This is the Noon Report on Family Life, and I'm your host, Sarah Harnish. President Trump is scheduled to be at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware today to attend the dignified transfer of remains for U.S. service members killed in the Iran war. 18 have died so far, 4 since Friday, including one soldier from the Empire State. ABC's Karen Waugh.
The Pentagon identifying 28-year-old Sergeant Angel Rampersad of New York, who's believed to have been killed in last week's attack on a U.S. base in Jordan, and 30-year-old Sergeant Michael Swinton of North Carolina, killed during the detonation of an Iranian drone in Iraq. His wife telling ABC News, Swinton was an amazing husband and father to his 2 young children.
U.S. forces have finished an 11th night of air attacks on Iran. A blockade is being enforced by Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in the Strait of Hormuz. This as the U.S. puts its own blockade in place.
The blockade is up and fully, it's nobody gets through. Nobody gets through the block. It's like a steel wall.
Tropical storm Bertha is moving steadily toward Louisiana. The storm, 45 miles east-northeast of the Mississippi River at this hour, heading toward Louisiana's Bayou country. ABC's Victor Oquendo is in New Orleans.
One woman we met loading up on sandbags for her house and her mother's. You've been through it all at this point here. Do you feel like it's best to be prepared?
It's better to be prepared than not be prepared because you never know what could happen. And if you're prepared, you're not going to be caught off guard.
The woman interviewed, Tina, said during Hurricane Katrina, she had 10 feet of water in her house. Bertha, just a tropical storm, but it is expected to drop nearly a third of a foot of rain. Former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife will be back in a New York courtroom today over their alleged participation in drug trafficking. Both federal prosecutors and Maduro's lawyers are seeking to postpone the trial date until next June. Maduro was removed from power in January and brought to New York to face charges. The U.S. House has rejected an amendment to the defense spending bill that would ban transgender Americans from serving in the military. The amendment would have codified President Trump's executive order calling for transgender individuals to be excluded from military service. And Franklin Graham made a pit stop Tuesday at the Samaritan's Purse Field Hospital, set up for victims of the earthquakes in Venezuela.
We're here at our emergency field hospital, 60-some beds. We've already done about 300 surgeries. The hospital is full, and it's full, and it's full. The needs down here are great. We're going to be down here for some time.
The 7.2 and 7.5 magnitude quakes on June 24th killed more than 5,000 people and injured 16,000. Graham calling on Americans to do the most important thing, to pray.
When we respond like this, we always do it in Jesus' name. So pray for the people of Venezuela. They need our prayers. They need our help, but they need our prayers.
Samaritan's Purse has set up 2 operating rooms, a pharmacy, and a lab, and is doing orthopedic surgeries and treating infections for those left untreated in the aftermath of the disaster. Those are the headlines. You're listening to The Noon Report on Family Life.
Gen Z spends a lot of time on the internet, and you and I can make a list of reasons that this might be troubling. But what if while online, teens and young adults are making significant connections and sharing their Christian faith in the medium that they know best? Well, today we're going to talk about just that. I'm Martha Manikas Foster, and this is Family Life's Inside Out, where we talk about God growing us as disciples from the inside out. My guest for a conversation about engaging young believers to share their faith on social media is Barry McGuire, founder and president of the evangelistic ministry Ignite America. So Barry, you encourage members of Gen Z to live for God's purpose, in part by using social media. Talk to me about what you see in Gen Z. What do you see that defies the stereotype? And that stereotype is that Gen Zers are easily offended, not so highly motivated, and digitally addicted teens and young adults. And you laugh at this. So why are you laughing at that?
Well, from personal experience. I mean, I heard all that. You know what?
Tell me.
They're turned off to the same old, the feel-good sermons, the hypocrisy, the passing of the offering plates, the emptiness of the Christian message that we're preaching today. And quite frankly, I'm with them. I feel exactly the same way.
You find that they're quite engaging, right?
Martha, they want truth. They're tired of the phony baloney. They're tired of the happy service. You go in, you go out, and there's no food. They want truth. They're tired of untruths. They want truth. God is the author of truth. Guess what? This God knows you. He created you in your mother's womb. He's never left you. He knows your every thought. He loves you. He wants to direct your steps. He wants to give you meaning. They say, what? Because they want meaning in their life. They don't want to have emptiness anymore. You mean I can have a relationship with God and I can actually introduce them to God? You mean I can do that? Yes. You particularly can do that because you're in the front line. Our only hope is Gen Zers. I believe that, Martha. They have the fervency. They just don't have the truth. It's our job to give them the truth. And when we do that, man, they're off and running. It's exciting. There's a God who loves us and wants to direct our steps and help us in everything we're doing and use us, and inspire us and give us peace every day. I mean, who doesn't want that?
Mm-hmm. I used to be a youth group leader, and I remember listening to other people speak and talking about youth being the future of the church and thinking, no. They are the present of the church.
They are the church.
Yes, exactly.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I believe that.
I have talked with missiologists who have said that the atmosphere is not so much that people are saying, I'm done with Christianity. We have a generation that doesn't know anything about it. So evangelism is fresh news to them. It's not news I've rejected necessarily. It's news I've never heard before.
That's it. The people we love to hate, the kids on the streets, get a one-on-one. Well, they're not evil. They're lost because of us. Their only hope is us. So we've gone sided. Only about 1% of us are intentionally sharing our faith every day. That's the problem.
Now, what have you found that Christian teens and young adults are most surprised about when it comes to sharing their faith online?
When I talk to Gen Zers, they find that there is openness. They are open. But what they're finding more is the naivety because they're lost. Uh-huh. They're finding the brokenness. They're just despair. Thoughts of suicide and fear. That's the world they're living in. They just lost hope. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As the Gen Zers are getting onto this, they realize that this is a mission field. It's desperate. If there is a God, there is truth. You can have purpose and share this truth with your friends. It's the opposite of what the stereotype is. It is. It's just that they're lost, they're broken, and they're hungry, and they're hurting.
The teens and young adults that you've been able to connect with and that your ministry connects with are finding with their fellow Gen Zers is that they're desperate for it. That's what I'm hearing you say?
That's
yeah. So how would you encourage a teen or young adult who's listening right now, someone who wants to share Jesus online in a way that's authentic, authentic of his or her personality, but in a way that doesn't sound like a script? What would be one or two things that you would say to them about being authentic online?
A great question to end this. Stop following a script. It's not a script. Nobody wants a sales pitch. Gen Zers particularly are tired of that. It's deadly. Okay. You're a Christian, you know the Lord. Then just go out and love on people. Don't have a script and let the Holy Spirit do all the work. And it comes through fresh every time.
What a great conversation on training kids and teens to share their faith on social media. Huge thank you to Martha Manikas Foster and also Barry McGuire, the founder and president of the evangelistic ministry Ignite America. Inside Out airs Wednesdays during the noon report or online anytime at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org. Finally, at noon, Gilbert Martin is living proof that age really is just a number. Retired after 40 years in the natural gas industry, he didn't have to work anymore, but quickly found that just sitting around wasn't for him.
And how you doing today, sir? Have you been waited on?
So at 92 years young, he spent the past 6 years as Mr. Gill, a beloved dining room host gainfully employed at a Chick-fil-A in Wilmington, North Carolina. Owner Mike Perdue tells WRAL they're grateful to have him.
Comes in every day, has that tie on. He's a great person. You don't come across too many people like that. The customers love him.
And Mr. Gill loves his customers.
To make sure that the tables are clean, the floor is clean. The main thing is I take care of people out here first. If you enjoy what you're doing, it's not work. I don't know what 92 is supposed to be, but I feel great. I get a lot of people that are coming in just going to the doctor or just been to the doctor and got bad news and so forth. And I'm able to be an encourager. The Lord gave me that.
The owner says Mr. Gill's kindness leaves a lasting impression on everyone he meets. And that's the world that we live in for Wednesday, the 22nd of July. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is Family Life News.
You've been listening to the Noon Report, heard weekdays on Family Life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.